SAP PI is process integration, and the latest version also is known as process orchestration. Hey friends, so today let's start with what is SAP XIPI and then PIPO, right? So let's take a quick look at what is SAP PI and that is called PO now. So SAP PI is process integration, and the latest version also is known as process orchestration. PO, that is PO, and PI is process integration. And these are the middleware provided by SAP. SAP PIPO is a component of SAP NetWeaver group of products that facilitate information integrations between SAP and other external systems. Okay, so as we have other integration systems, it is similar to that, and SAP has been providing it. Okay, with NetWeaver group. The very first version of SAP integrations was called XI. XI is Exchange Infrastructure, and the next major update was SAP Process Integration, and the latest version is called Process Orchestration. Okay, PO. So that's why it is called as XIPI. Earlier it was called XIPI, and now it is PIPO. Now let's talk through multiple segments that I wanted to cover today. The one is functionality. Okay, so functionality of XIPIPO. Let's just cover PIPO. So XI is old, like its legacy. So history and evolution of XIPI, and then SAP PI in NetWeaver stack, advantages of SAP PI over other middlewares, architecture of SAP PIPO, how to develop infrastructure in SAP PIPO, tools used for interface development ID, how to create message mapping program. Okay, and the other 3 points are SAP PI message processing, steps at runtime, future of SAP PI, how to learn SAP PI. So all these functionalities we will cover today. So first step is functionality of PIPO. As the integration broker of SAP NetWeaver stack, SAP PIPO has capability to integrate SAP with other legacy systems and applications. The systems allows you to integrate SAP with other SAP and non-SAP systems, as well as build and execute A2A and B2B interfaces. Now, we will not go into deep what is A2A and B2B, but both synchronous and asynchronous communication techniques can be used. Okay. Most importantly, it provides a central location for an organization to build, integrate, and monitor interfaces between the heterogeneous system in the landscape. Besides that, PI facilitate you to expose services to the outside world according to the service-oriented architecture. Main functional SAP PI are connecting system using communication protocol such as SFTP, AS2, SOAP, HTTP, all that, right? And then route the messages between PIPO and messages from one sender to the another receiver systems based on the business process rules and technical routing rules. Okay, transforming or map message format between senders and target systems, provide a runtime environment for exchanging messages between the systems and interfacing and monitoring it, basically. Okay, so all this things are capable of SAP PI that we are using. Execute integration workflows with a series of steps such as purchase order, process integrations, and all those approvals and everything. Now, history evolution of SAP XIPIPO, what are the versions? So this talks about like from XI to PI and then PO, and now there is HANA Cloud integration, and the final step is CPI. So we will cover CPI in later segments, but it's just like XI was initially having version 2 and 3. PI was version 7 to 7.3, and then other versions of PO. Okay, so this is just a quick look at it. Exchange infrastructure, XI, what it is SAP integration platform was first introduced to customers in 2003, and product was called XI, Exchange infrastructure. The first version was 2.0 and 3, and around 2008 the first version of SAP PI was available, okay, for general customers, and it was released in 2006. XI was a dual stack system with Java stack and SAP ABAP stack. In other words, some components of the systems were installed in ABAP stack while other components were included in the Java stack. So example, integration engine and business process engine, right? So BPM were based in AS ABAP stack, while adapter engine resides in AS Java stack. We'll come to it later point of time in the details, but for now this is the information. And then PI came with all these versions, and it was introduced in 2010, moving from back to dual XIPI systems to Java only single stack version was a major upgrade. So this was a major milestone at that time in 2010, and from NetWeaver products. Okay, and then process orchestration. So process orchestration finally came in 2012. SAP PO was combination of PI single stack with business management. Okay, so with business process management, business rules management, but there are several other differences between PI and PO. Let's not cover that here. And then CPI and HANA Cloud Platform integrations are the newest addition from SAP. SAP Cloud Platform Integration was formerly known as HANA Cloud Platform Integration or services, like so. It's just a change of name. Other than that, it is what both are. It's just a terminology, and now we are not naming it as HCI but CPI. Okay. So keep in mind, CPI is not a replacement of PIPO. It is completely new integrations of SAP suite and allows an organization to integrate SAP cloud application with its on-prem systems. Okay, so new versions of PO are integrated with CPI, so you can harmonize on-prem and cloud integration. So CPI is purely cloud platform integration, right? So we can go back to more on the distinguishing pattern and how to connect each other, but that's something we'll park it for now. Advantages of PIPO. Now let's like over non-SAP middlewares. It is a seamless integration between SAP. This is one of the major advantage. We would say SAP PI is seamlessly implemented and interfaces using SAP integrations technology such as intermediate documents, IDOCs, right? So IDOC framework, business application programs, in that is business application program interface, BAPI, remote functional calls, RFCs, and ABAP proxy frameworks. Okay, so moreover, SAP have provided a set of tools to easily register SAP backend systems in the system landscape. Comprehensive set of connectivity options, adapters. SAP PI provides a comprehensive set of adapters to heterogeneously systems across our landscape. For example, RFC, Hypertext Protocol, HTTP, Java, JDBC, SFTP, IDOCs, JMS, that is Java Messaging Services, and SOAP calls. Okay, so all this implementation framework are some of the adapters delivered by SAP with standard package. Moreover, applicability systems and secure SFTP, OData, REST, OFTP, all these are also provided in the adapter forms. So there are not many can be installed, and you can have an add-on for that. Okay. Now, simplicity of building the interfaces. So what is interfaces like while connecting the system, right? So the key part is the simplicity and the turnaround time. So interfaces, developer can readily build end-to-end integration scenarios using integrated development IDs, which is Eclipse based, and Java Swing based, okay, IDE. That are provided by SAP in their package. End-to-end integration for the iFlows can be built with the user-friendly graphical interfaces of Eclipse. Additionally, iFlows employs standard BPM notification notion, which makes the development effort more effective and the development interface even more user-friendly. This capability of building interfaces with user-friendly graphics ID and no coding or minimum coding is one of the main benefit of PIPO. Okay, now coming back to central interface monitoring capabilities. Being able to monitor all our interfaces centrally in one of the major advantages of SAP PI. Message monitor of SAP PI allows you to monitor uh, allows you to monitor each and every steps of the interface's runtime pipeline. So this is monitoring capabilities. State of messages from the time it is transferred from the sender to the system received by the target can be monitored easily. Message monitor can be configured to log information, warnings, all that stuff, right? So send adapter, routing determination, XML validation, message transformation, and everything. Moreover, PI components based messages like CBMA can be used to send automatic alerts or emails when interfaces or issues are detected. Now, what is the architecture of SAP process orchestration? So, the architecture of SAP PIPO, HCI, CPI are vastly different. This is due to constant evolution of the software from ABAP and Java stacks, okay, only single stack product to the cloud enabled products. Therefore, we need to examine the architecture of each product separately and discuss it. So here is a diagram. What is SAP process orchestration look like? So PO includes BPM, BRM, ESR, PI, B2B collaboration, and cloud integration. Okay, so all are revolving around our process orchestration, all these 6 segments, right? And the components of process orchestration are usually ESR, ID, SLD, and AAE, okay, advanced adapter engines. The functionality of ESR, ID, and EE are bundled together as advanced adapter engine in SAP PIPO single stack over, and here you see all this the architecture of the single stack SAP PI version. So this is PIP or PO version architecture, which is based on Java only single stack, right? So here are integration experts who are configuration and doing the integration part and designing the integration content. PI tool, which is Eclipse based, ES repository, it is using ES repository plugins and PI configuration plugins. It is in the backend, it is connecting to the ES build, ES repository, ES R content, integration, directory integration build, advanced adapter engines, runtime cache, all this is done, and business systems are connected. System landscape directories are there, which manages the directory manager, landscape description, and everything. Non-central advanced adapter engine, runtime cache. It is replicating the configuration in both, so in AS environment and non-central advanced adapters also. Advanced adapter engine extended. So this is the architecture of single stack SAP PIPO. System landscape directory, what is that? So here you see the system landscape directory. It is a SLD is the central component used to register and hold information about the system in the landscape. Metadata of the systems in the landscape and their software components are stored in SLD. ESR, enterprise service repository. It is ESR is a central repository rather than content, data types, message types, service interfaces, message mapping programs, and other object descriptions of the interface. So enterprise service repository contents are like central repository that contains data types, message types, service interfaces, message mapping programs, and other object definition of the interface here. Now moving on to ES Builder. What is ES Builder that we see here? ES Builder is nothing but like it's tool for defining the to define the objects in the ECR. So ESR, wherever we are having all the data types and messages, it's a tool to build that. Configuration contents are as the name suggests, so it's the central repository that contains object defined in the configuration time of the interface development. Objects in the configuration time defined in the technical parameters of the interface, such as adapter integration configurations. Integration builder is a set of tools that allow integration expert to configure end-to-end integration using object created in ESR and SLD, as you saw, right? So system landscape directory and ESR, this is the configuration builder. This is the integration builder. Then integration experts are SAP PI developers who are the consultants
building and deploying interfaces. Adapter engines are containing a set of adapters such as SOAP and all that, SOAP, HTTP, SFTP, that allows the SAP PI to connect to heterogeneous system. Eclipse PI tool is NetWeaver Developer Studio. PI is this tool is allow integration developer to access and create ESR and ID objects. Central Message Monitor, so it provides a set of tools that uses to check runtime of the interfaces in SAP PI. Monitor, it allows systems to system admins to inspect all the messages, processing steps of an interface. Users can monitor adapter engines communication related to logs, incoming, outgoing messages, contents, message mapping, logs, all this monitoring status of the content, conversation, etc. using the this CMM. NetWeaver Administrator is portal of PI. User authorization, certification, keys, performance related parameters, ports, destination, etc. defined in this one. And like it's a system administrator basis consultation and configured in NW. So how to develop interface in SAP PI PO? Okay, so let's take first step. So now a simple A2A integration scenarios. As an interface developer, you need to configure three main components to build the complete interface. One is SLD, System Landscape Directory. Second one is Enterprise Service Repository, and third is Integration Directory. Okay, all three components can be accessed from PI homepage URL. So in that directory you will see ESR, then System Landscape, ESR, and Integration Directory. Okay, all these three steps. So step 1, systems in integration landscape are registered in SLD as a combination of product, software components, versions, technical systems, and business systems. Different type of systems are registered using particular methods in SLD. For example, registering an SAP backend system is different from how you represent a third party or a standalone system. But user-friendly wizards are available to guide you through the system integrations. Okay, so SAP NetWeaver system landscape, like create a new version of existing software component, new component version, and all these steps are given. Of course, there is one way to skip this step. If the integrated systems are out of organization landscape and the technical details are unknown, you can skip this. Okay? Directly to the step 3. Step 2 is Enterprise Service Repository, is why you develop design objects such as data types, message types, sender and target messages. Furthermore, like you can use outbound and inbound service interfaces are defined. And last but not the least, message mapping programs between sender and the target. Integration directory, where you can configure end-to-end integration scenarios using objects you created in ESR and SLD. Communication adapters are also known as communication channel from the sender systems to the target. For example, if the sender system is SFTP and the host name is the IP directory, file name, format, authentication method, achieving method are all configured in this step. Message routing between the sender and target are also defined in this configuration. Configuration time in ID answers all the questions below, like what is the message sender system, what is the multiple message receivers, what are the receivers, what should be the message receiver system be derived dynamically from the message content, or like what is the mapping program to transform the sender message to the target messages, how should the adapter be defined, integrated development ID. So this is basically Java Swing client and the Eclipse based, right? So Java Swing client based on clients are certainly the oldest one, which was used in XI days, and now currently like it was using it, but we are mostly focused on the newer one. Okay, Java runtime environment should be installed and all that things are done in the Swing client. Let's talk more about, so these are all processes and graphical messages mapping for the program. that was used for earlier XI. Now, Eclipse based is fairly new IDE because Eclipse is a tool that is used for mostly Java based integrations, so that can be used for fully developed end-to-end integrations similar to our Swing client. This is capable of creating ESR objects ID configuration, but only JDK JRE will be requiring for this. So advantages of using is it is more user friendly in comparison to the older one. It is one ID for all SAP Java based development, for example, like the capabilities to create web Dynamo, Dynapro application, and not only the integration scenarios. It has possibility to leverage Eclipse IDE capabilities. Vast number of plugins are available for this, and capability to build end-to-end integration using iFlows is also available. So this is a high-level view for this. ESR perspective of new NWDS. NWDS, you can see all this ESR representative respectives are there present. iFlows in PI Explorer of NWDS here. This is how iFlow looks like. Now, how to create a message mapping in SAP PIPO. Transformation of sender messages format to target messages format is one of the main functionality of middleware. Using either Swing or this Eclipse based tool can create interfaces for mapping program. It's three different messages are. One is graphical mapping, Java mapping, and then there is XSLT mapping. Each technique have its own advantages. So graphical mapping advantages and disadvantages, and now graphical mapping is mostly commonly used for mapping techniques. You can build using a graphical user interface ES builder. The main advantage of this mapping technique for integration specialist is capability to build mapping program with a drag and drop option without coding. So additionally, developers can just reuse standard mapping functionality provided by SAP. Standard functions of string, boolean, arithmetic, date, node, all these conversions can be applied. For substring and concatenation functions can be easily used. You can do the date transformation and everything. So date trans is one of the function without any coding. You can just change your existing date to the different date format just by applying the new date format with the drag and drop functionality. Now, maintenance and modification of graphical mapping program are easier than other techniques just because you have the fact that mapping can be built using without any coding. Additionally, you can inject code using user-defined functionals to build complex logic. Okay, Java mappings are the DOM, our document object model. It is a parsing technique or a simple API for XML. Java mappings can be used to build complex logic and cannot be handled by our graphical mappings. Okay. XSLT mappings are mostly used when you need to change a namespace or the of the message, kind of sort, filter, group messages, content. Okay, so XSLT mappings use more memory than any other techniques and are not easy to maintain. So this is the difficult option for the mapping, but then it is based on what is the requirement for using it. Okay, message processing steps are basically. This is the final step for your interface when you build and deploy. PI runtime takes care of actual processing of the messages based on the design and configuration defined. Messages are processed in a specific sequence based on the objects built in SLD, ESR, and configuration ID. Okay. In the single stack SAP PIPO version, messages processing is done by advanced adapter extended at runtime in the sequence below. Sender adapter processing, then there is inbound XML validation, receiver determination, interface determination, message mapping, outbound XML validation, receiver adapter processing. So all these steps are there. You see here sender to sender message till receiver message. Okay. So it takes the sender adapter inbound messages, transforms it. Inbound XML validations is done. Receiver is determined. Interface determination of inbound and outbound of the receiver messages. Then mapping is done, and then outbound XML validation is done, and receiver adapter sends the message to the receiver. Now PIPO practical example scenarios. Okay, there are few scenarios that we can check on point of sales integration with SAP S4 HANA and CR. There are few more. There are links, we can access those. Now future of SAP PIPO. We are discussed in the beginning. SAP PI keeps on evolving and regularly added new functionalities with the capabilities to PI. Due to the this improvement, the architecture of PI has changed drastically, and some components has become obsolete. Okay, removal of ABAP stack. So now we moving from dual stack SAP XIPO PIPO. We are only Java only single stack version is already a reality, and PO 7.31 onwards dual stack is not available. Okay, cloud integration runtime on-prem included in the on-prem SAP PO. Following with the recent trend on the cloud-based application, SAP introduced CPI. CPI can be used to design and deploy only cloud-based integration scenarios. On-prem SAP PO was not able to handle cloud integrations. Okay, but with recent changes to PO, we are able to do that as well with the hybrid solution for both on-prem as well as cloud. Okay, so you can launch an SAP CPI content from on-prem. This is option. Cloud integration integrated with on-prem PO. The functionality with the hybrid text are still evolving, and we will be able to have one single integration software solution, more capabilities to deploy on-prem and cloud. Okay, so B2B add-on for B2B ED integration instead of C burger adapters. What with this introduction, the C burger adapter has become obsolete. Like we have a cockpit functionality. You can build B2B EDI integration effectively using B2B add-ons. You have configuration. You can configure the EDI cockpit to handle the different EDI formats such as Edifact, ANSI, Tradcoms, VDA. This can also have capability to build custom modules to convert text file formats such as CSV to plain text. Okay. Additionally, B2B adapters, AS2, OFTP, EDI separators, all these are included in the package. In conclusion, B2B integration cockpit is a tool for future, while C-Work adapters are left in the past. Okay. How to learn SAP PI? When it comes to the topic of learning this, one should understand that experience is as important as technical knowledge. Experience in integration is a major factor in how the role of SAP PI consultant versus SAP PI developer are defined. With the right technical knowledge, in creating mapping programs, building iFlows, configuring adapters, you can become a solid SAP PI developer. In order to become an SAP PI consultant, you should be able to first build integrations, architecture concepts, define development guidelines and naming convention, conduct integration related workshops, understand business processes, define EDI techniques suitable for organization, have knowledge of the best practices of the adapters usage, lead a team of technical consultants who can develop this, manage customer expectation and escalation, solve problem and communication effective with the business users. Now learn SAP PI online for freshers who has no previous knowledge in SAP PI. My advice is to follow PI technical courses online. Make sure to understand the profile of the tutor before you sign up for these courses. Good tutor can have a depth knowledge of SAP PI and multiple years of SAP implementation experience. Join SAP consultancy firms or internal IT terms. The best way to learn SAP BI is by implementing a real life integration scenarios. You can join the SAP ID team and work with them to have troubleshooting issues and monitor the systems. Best of luck, and this is adios from my end, and let's and stay tuned for my next upload. Thank Thank you.